But I said some of the pushback is happening in unexpected ways. I will say one of the things that happened today happened at the General Services Administration, GSA. One of Musk's guys held a video meeting with a whole division of employees at the GSA. And Musk's guy was telling them at this video meeting, this video conference, that they really ought to consider this fork in the road offer. That's what they're calling it. This fork in the road offer that demands their resignations and threatens them if they don't do it. In this video conference with Musk's guy, the employees there at GSA responded, I don't know, am I allowed to say they responded beautifully? Is that okay? Quote, his assurances did not appear to work. Employees in the division then rained down spoon emojis in the chat that accompanied the video meeting, which was watched by more than 600 people, according to photos of the chat screen provided to the Times and 3 people familiar with the reaction. Some employees then added spoon emojis to their statuses on Slack. Oh, you want us to take your fork in the road? Oh, you do? You think we should take this fork in the road? How about fork you? Here's 1 million spoon emojis. They think people are just going to roll over and go along with them while they destroyed the government? Really? People weren't going to get mad and also get creative and also laugh in your face? Fork in the road. The one place that they really have done everything they can to just destroy a part of the government, even though it's illegal for them to do so, is, of course, at USAID, which does foreign aid. And there's different arguments about this. I think presumably they started there and they went for their most radical action there because they figured that Americans wouldn't care, because they figured that this was not going to be an issue that Americans thought was an important thing. It's just something that, only Beltway elites would care about. And their voters, people in the heartland, they definitely wouldn't care because obviously it has nothing to do with them. How's that working out? Here's News Channel 12, KWCH in Wichita, Kansas.
The Kansas Farmers Union warns that disruptions to this program could eliminate an entire market for Kansas farmers. The initiative sends excess crops like wheat and sorghum to food insecure regions worldwide.
It'll certainly be an economic hit to Kansas farmers. USAID purchases about $2 billion worth of commodities that are grown not just here in Kansas, but across the country every year.
Kansas farmers freaking out about this because where do you think American food aid comes from? Does it come from Mars? No, we do not occupy Mars. No, American food aid largely comes from a place called America, where Americans live. The Associated Press has been all over this week, reporting that what Trump and Rubio and Musk have done already with this foreign aid gambit has already stuck literally hundreds of millions of dollars worth of food and medicine that has already been delivered to ports abroad, but it's sitting stuck in ports and it can't be unloaded because nobody knows what these clowns are doing. And they tried to do this with a stroke of a pen and no planning. That includes American-grown food sold to the program by American farmers. Kansas Republican Senator Jerry Moran among those freaking out about the perishable American-grown food that is now sitting there to rot with all the American farmers and contractors who supply these programs being told, how great it is that Elon's feeding this part of the U.S. government to the wood chipper, and shouldn't we all be cheering that? At just one trade association in the D.C. area, contractors have reportedly racked up $350 million in unpaid bills already, just since they stopped the foreign aid. The estimated job losses in the United States, just to contractors who supply these specific programs. The job loss in the United States is thought to be about 52,000 jobs. These are people who are not government employees. These are people who work in the private sector. Right? They keep saying, private sector jobs are the only ones that count. If you work for the federal government, that's a low productivity job. You ought to resign. You ought to get out or else. Well, here's 52,000 people who work in the private sector who Trump has just thrown out of a job. 52,000 Americans who have contract jobs related to this one agency and its programs, which they tried to blow up, again, just by saying so even though it's illegal and even though they rolled it out with zero planning. I mean, please. Even if you don't consider, even if you don't consider stuff like this, capital city of Uganda, right? This is not like backcountry. This is a big cosmopolitan city. Lots of traffic in and out. It's the capital city of a large country. Capital city of Uganda, Kampala, is having its first Ebola epidemic in years right now. And there is a U.S. team there that would be leading the response to Ebola so it doesn't spread and, among other things, come here. That Ebola team in Uganda has just been axed with no warning as Uganda is having a brand new Ebola epidemic. Does that seem smart? Even if you don't consider the fact that one of the teams just axed by Trump and Rubio and Musk with no warning is the U.S. team that designs really highly specialized treatment regimes for individual patients who have multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. Why do you need to do that? You need to do that because you don't want multi-drug resistant tuberculosis to overrun the globe. Right? The people who are designing specialized treatment regimes for people with potentially the most dangerous pathogen in the world axed with no warning, stop work. And by the way, you can't even access your email or any of your files. Do you think that makes the people who actively have multi-drug resistant tuberculosis right now somehow magically stop work on that too? I mean, even if you don't consider just the deep stupidity of cutting people and programs like that, there's also plainly a political miscalculation here. A miscalculation that we, the people, are also stupid and we're also mean and we won't get it, right? And we won't care. That's why they went after USAID and foreign aid first. They were clearly wrong about that. I mean, this was the huge, basically spontaneous protest that broke out at the USAID building on Monday when Trump ordered the building shut overnight on Sunday night. And look at this. This was today. This was today. In the shadow of the U.S. Capitol, in the cold, again, on zero notice, as Americans protested simultaneously in 50 state capitals and cities all over the country, yet more people, look at this, thousands of people turned up today in Washington on zero notice to try to save USAID, to stand up for foreign aid. And tons of Democratic officials showed up as well.
Make no mistake about it, Elon Musk's effort to dismantle the Agency for International Development is a gift to China, it's a gift to Russia, it's a gift to our adversaries around the world.
Who the hell does Musk think he is? He has absolutely no right in shutting down USAID. We cannot allow that. We've got to take to the streets, we've got to take to the rallies, we've got to fight back, and we must resist every motion, every action by Musk and Trump to shut down this government. In the Congress, we must equally resist what is happening. We cannot let it go on. We must resist. We must be in the streets. We must take every possible action to stop what is happening. Don't just show up here. They're not choosing. I was with community health centers today in Virginia. They're getting shut down in red parts of the state and blue parts of the state. We're only going to break this when we have Republicans willing to stand up as well. Put the pressure not just on us, but on everyone, every elected official level. That's the only way we're going to win this.
This is a big day today. I mean, that was Washington. After what I just showed you at the top of what was happening in all 50 states in the country simultaneously. Oh, yeah, don't protest now. Keep your powder dry. I think people are plenty mad already. They're taking as much ground as they can, as fast as they can. They're seeing what gets them pushback. You know what gets them pushback? All the things they thought would be easy. There's another protest tomorrow against their attack on foreign aid, specifically on the HIV programs, tomorrow at the State Department building at 11 a.m. It's all happening at once.